Do you realize that anybody can be a policeman? Anyone can. You don't need to be a special character or person come from a special family to be a policeman. If you pass the tests, you do the training, you go past the screening, you can become a policeman. Simple as that. So the notion that policemen are these deities, are these particular special people who they're there to protect us and they've been specially chosen to protect us. That is you living in a dream world. That is you living in a bubble. And I think once people truly, fully understand that these are human beings just like yourself behind these badges, that's when it now gets a lot scarier. Because then when you now go deeper, then you say, wait a minute, there are so many different people in the world. There are racists, there are pedophiles, there are psychopaths, there are sociopaths, there are mentally deranged people. So once you think about and you accept that, then you realize that anybody could be a policeman and you could be dealing with anyone. You could be dealing with anyone. And you see, for me, when I put the title, so shout out to the guy who disliked the vid. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I just put out that thing out there. I made sure to say American police, not police in total, American police. Because you know what I've always said? Key parts of society, you must have doctors and nurses. You must have teachers. You must have soldiers. You must have police. I believe these are the four cornerstones of every society. Of course, you have to think about the essentials to have a society that can be sustained. Doctors, nurses, teachers, soldiers, police. These are the cornerstones of a society. The police are vital because as human beings, we are innately corrupt. We are innately troublesome. We will always cause trouble. We are fortunate that we are living in the most peaceful time ever, but human beings, at our very nature, whether you like it or not, you can be like, oh, but no, I believe in good thing. I'm a liberal. I don't give a damn how liberal you are. We all have that evil side within us. It is inbuilt, imprinted within us. But the key thing with my title, because whenever I look at the title, it's a jump off. Because these discussions, I want to take them into much larger macro discussions. That's why I always want this to be, back and forth interactive. So of course, once I just get off this opening stance, then of course we'll now have a nice back and forth. Because these whole things are about back and forth. Because real talk is a back and forth it's about being real. The key thing is about being real. American police are evolved slave catchers. Most police in America are evolved slave catchers. Your past influences your future. That's how life works. If you see someone and you look at his character, what he's done in his past influences how he acts now. That's just the basics, the basic science and physics of life. There is what's a cause and effect. There's always a prime mover, the domino effect, the connectivity, a pattern, cycle. America was built on violence. It was built upon slaves. Slaves helped build the economic fabric of America. So America, guys came in, they massacred and murdered the Native Americans, completely took them from the land, killed, slaughtered all of them, and they stole Africans from their homes, forced them into work, raped them, beat them, treated them like property because they were property, and they, without any pay, and horrible conditions, they built the very fabric of America. So, but if you have this workforce, the slave workforce, you have to keep them in line, because many would have said, man, no, F this. have been shoved around by these flipping devils, these flipping demonic satanic creatures who've stolen us from where we are. I want to get away from this satanic land and these satanic creatures. And once you do, you have to have police. You have to have a kind of police. So the first kind of policing organization were the slave catchers. Because some of those runaway slaves had to be caught, had to be administered. Because remember, there was a really good film, some issues that didn't come out. Nate Parker, try and look it up. Nate Parker, Birth of a Nation, and he delved into that over how there was a task force of slave catchers where your prime job was find those runaway slaves and track them down. And they were a legitimate organization in this crazy slave times. So obviously, slavery gets abolished, have the whole rigmarole, Jim Crow law, the whole thing of civil rights and so forth. But the psychology of the police, of the slave catchers, still maintained. It's still maintained. You can't have a future without a past. Your past influences your future. So the key thing is the system, the organization. Because you're not just a policeman. If you can't be a policeman as an individual, because then you're a vigilante, you're not a policeman. A policeman is someone who is a product of a system. And the system has rules. But a system does not only has rules, it has a foundation built on principles from the past. Every single institution, whether it's a religion or a school, has principles built from teachings from the past. Now, you may evolve those principles and build upon those principles, but those principles are still a foundation from the past. And police organizations, their principles coincide with the principles of the slave catchers. So they are indoctrinated to be aggressive, to be forceful. And for these black faces, you have to have zero tolerance towards them. You have to, and it is fully etched into their brains that zero tolerance towards these dudes. Zero tolerance towards these dudes. That is what we are looking for. We're looking for zero tolerance towards these dudes. So it is really no surprise that you'll see all these things of police brutality and all of these things happening. So let's just see what guys. So that's just an opening stanza. Last one. Oh, your boy Joseph is in there. That's just an opening stanza. Why can't the US write the gun law they have out of their constitution? That's impossible to happen because America is built on violence. That is a part of American culture. That is a dream. That is a pipe dream. It is fully built into American culture. So the gun law and how the police operates, that system cannot be destroyed, man. It cannot be destroyed because it is fully in between with the culture. Yeah, no, see, and understand. This is where I'm not. This is not where I'm not going into. So we're now going into the call. What did I start with? I said that anyone can be a policeman. The one I said, anybody can be a policeman. Let's take an example. I'm a white racist, supremacist. I really don't like black people. I don't know any black people. I see these guys as these monkeys, these uncivilized baboons and so forth. And they just piss me off. And that's just my view. Based on how I've grown up, my father called these guys niggas. My mother called these guys niggas. And I view these guys as niggas and these flipping baboons. That's just how I've been indoctrinated. I can't go and just beat up on these black guys as a civilian, because if I do that, I'm now under the rule of being a civilian. I can't do that. But these blacks piss me off. These blacks piss me off. What do I do? Now, if I'm a policeman, I'm now under different rules because it is said that based on you being a policeman, you are putting your life on the line and you will always get that benefit of the doubt because you're no longer a civilian. You are now doing the Lord's work. You are now, because again, remember what we said, one of the key elements of a society is a police. You cannot have a country without a police force. Countries fight your wars abroad or help defend you. The police fights your wars within your country. So and it's unfortunate because we are a violent species. We're a violent species, and we're a species that can't live in harmony. So any hipster that tells you, "Hey, but we want to live in a utopia can't exist because we are too violent. We're too violent, and we have too many differences, and we can't live as one family. We have too many differences. There are too many pricks." So, oh no, let me hit this. How do we know this incident was racially provoked? Aren't you just assuming without evidence? You see, that's why you have to look at the history of America and pattern. Key thing here is history and a pattern. This isn't the first case. This isn't the first case. What we know as a fact, this is a fact. What we know as a fact is this scum cop and George Floyd, they knew each other for 17 years. And they both worked as security in the same establishment. So that's here is a fact. We know for a fact that police brutality, specifically towards Black people, is prevalent, as we saw from the Rodney King beating. Based on because what people are missing out is, see, people who are, let's say, looking at America from out are like, have you done your research into America? Have you done your research into America's history? Hence why I said slave catchers, because everything is connected. The police force is connected to the history of America and the history as to how America has policed their land. So, and when you look at that, Joe, this is what you have to ask yourself, Joe. And you have to answer this to yourself. Would that cop do that to a white man? And that's for you to answer. That's for you to answer. So you don't have to answer me that, but you just answer yourself this out. Would that policeman keep his neck on a white man for 8 minutes? That's just all you just have to answer that for yourself. You have to answer for yourself. Because remember, this is a same police force who another scum who shot up a church full of Black people, killed hundreds of Black people. They saw this dude, went aggressive towards him, and they took him to Burger King, made him have a meal, and went the way through. This George Floyd, do you know what his offense was? Forgery. His offense was forgery. So just clear that. Forgery and you killing 10, 20, 30 people, innocent people attending a church. Now, I know who deserves to be shot on sight. I know who deserves to have their head blown off on sight. I know that. So again, for you, that's what you have to pretty much say to yourself. So stuff is popping off in America right now. Stuff is popping off right now in America. And the key thing here is, oh wow, there's a bit of beef in the chat. So the key thing is that, see, as I'm just watching, see, what is key here is this protest is a bigger element, because what people are trying to do, they're now trying to shift the focus, because the key thing here is police, and the focus is how American police organizations run. How do they go about doing their jobs? So And that is what the beef is from the protests. But what certain media outlets will want you to now do is that, oh, forget about an innocent man being killed by a policeman and three other policemen watching by as it happened. They're now shifting it to, oh my gosh, look at all the looting. Look at all the stuff being broken down. Look at how all the fireworks. Like, for me, I'm sorry. My focus is on the innocent man being killed by police, not the looting. That is my focus, man. So I say stuff is, and see, the thing about this is this, because see, again, I have to reiterate this: the prime mover, cause and effect. There is no effect without a cause. There is no effect without a cause. People are just saying, oh my gosh, why are you looting? Why are you doing all this stuff? All these things that are happening is as a result of the police force and the American system pissing in the face of people and saying it's rain. Because it is the ultimate mind control of African Americans by the machine. Because the machine is saying that we've enslaved you. And we've still enslaved you. And the reason why we've still enslaved you is that we can we can strangle one of your people on live recording and they can still get off. To this day, I have no idea how those guys got off with Rodney King. You see, because everything goes back to Rodney King, because that's how the whole thing of rioting began and the whole beef against policemen. It's like you saw 5 policemen beat the living crap out of a defenseless dude continuously, and they got off. And these guys got off. And the danger that what that Rodney King thing showed is, oh my God, if I'm a racist, I can get off getting my rage out behind the badge. Because if those dudes got off for doing that, you know what? I can get off just beating the crap out of these flipping dudes that I hate. I can't do it as a civilian, but as a policeman, I'm under different laws. Because guys, we live in the real world. We live in the real world. Not everyone joins the police force because they just want to serve and protect, and they just want to make the world a happy place. Now, some do. A large portion of people who are very young want to be policemen because, I want to keep order. And I think it is a great, noble thing to do, to try and, help people that are in need. But not everyone is like that. There are people that go into this profession because they've got beef. They've got a chip on their shoulder. And they say that I'm going there to F up some black people. I'm going there to F up some black people and stuff. And the dangerous thing is because again, we don't know, because everybody is wearing the same uniform. Well, everyone is wearing the same uniform. So as a black guy, you don't know if you're dealing with someone who's racist or someone who's just mad, who has just had a bad day. And the crazy thing is, like this policeman is, the force will just say, we view this as a mistake. Okay, you're suspended or you're sacked. But it's like, and that's where I'm going to. If you're a racist and you just have a dream of killing a black guy, I want to kill one of these dudes because I hate them. I hate these dudes. I hate the way they look, the way they dress, everything. I hate them. I want to kill these dudes. You can do it and get away with it as a policeman. But see, there is a much higher chance of you getting away with murder as a policeman than as a civilian. So there are guys in police uniforms out there who have fulfilled their dream and their urge of, man, I want to murder these people, and they've gotten away with it. Scary times. America. So it's like, people don't understand that, which is why, and this may be another conversation I want to have, and especially I want to address the African Americans here. I want to address the African Americans here because I asked someone this some time ago. I said that, so people who are African American, do you view yourselves as an American citizen? And if you do you really believe America cares about you specifically? Its structure, because that's a very key thing. Um, the real deal says injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Black culture has become popular culture. Slaves, no slave ever asked for freedom. They had to fight for it. Yeah, no, look, man, it's which is why, like, because it's so funny. Like when I posted this about, man, look all this stuff that's happened in America. Some dude said, "Bro, you live in England. Why are you worried about what's happening in America?" So I was like, okay, so if I see injustice happening hundreds of miles away, I'd be like, well, who cares, man? At least it's not where I am. So well, good on you. Go have at it, man. Have your fun. Really? Really? You know? And it's funny when you say about popular culture because that's why this is one of my favorite sayings. And I like this, and this is one of my favorite sayings. Everyone wants to be black. Nobody really wants to be black. Everyone wears the clothes, the culture. Yo, nigga this, nigga that. Yo, my nigga there, my nigga this, my nigga that. The chain, the rap music, all that stuff. Oh, yeah, man, Rastafari, man. They love all that stuff. But when it now comes to, oh, wow, black people they're now in a fix. There's now been a sense of injustice. They're like, oh, whoa, I don't know what to say here. Just hook me up when we do the whole rap thing. Which is why I always said, don't get rappers to be your spokespeople. Now, some certain rappers can be, which is what like a Killer Mike has been doing a great job. So that whether you wanted to say a Killer Mike, a Talib Kweli, a Common, a Yasin Bey, good. Lil Wayne literally said that racism doesn't exist, that he doesn't believe in racism. Lil Wayne, he said that. Lil Wayne said he doesn't believe in racism. So that's not really a guy that you really wanted to say what's up to. The police system in America needs to be looked at in detail. Why are police told to always be aggressive first? In my opinion, it's because the fact that everyone in America has guns. See, now we're getting to the core here. You see, I told you we're looking at the whole pie. Cause and effect, culture. America has a certain culture that isn't the same as Spanish culture, Nigerian culture, Lebanese culture. The culture of America is violence. The culture of America is capitalist. Dog eats dog. Every man for himself. The American dream. I'm going to crawl, scratch, cheats, do whatever I can to achieve the American dream. Don't take my guns away. Guns are part of American culture. Don't do it. So, because someone said something very interesting to me on Twitter, they said that what America is great marketing. Superb marketing. Because America has given us some amazing things. Hollywood, all the social media things, the different apps and so forth, the music, rap and everything. So guys are saying, oh my gosh, look, America, the land of the great. But America is a place that there is no free healthcare. It's right to bear arms. You can buy bullets and guns next to a baby and a child from a regular convenience store. So when you have a culture that is so violent, you train your police to be more violent and more aggressive. I mean, and the funny thing about America, like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, people who are shocked by the protesting and the looting, what did you think would happen? Like, this was always bound to happen based on how your country was built. If you have a poisonous foundation, the building may last for years and years and years, but it's still a poisonous foundation. And there will come a time when that foundation begins to rot. And because it begins to rot, it affects the rest of the building. Like, America was built unjustly. And always says the energy you put out is always what you receive. And there will come a time when people say, wait a minute. This system is fully stacked against me. And what you're just seeing is how quickly things can just go awry. Because now, if everybody just sort of goes crazy, because this is not quite anarchy, but it's close to anarchy. It's close to anarchy. But if people now go crazy, what do the police do? Do you shoot everyone? Like, what do you do if everybody just goes bananas? You know, if everybody just goes bananas, what do you do? What do you do? Yeah, see, I know because I know Conor was very well, because obviously he was in the Matrix films, and I think people have been sharing that stuff. So I've just seen some like sound bites. Obviously, no, but for me, it's like where this never feel of America. See, because even that's even like almost different constitution of America, because America is it's empires rise and fall. The Egyptian Empire rose and it fell. Greek Empire rose and it fell. The Roman Empire rose and fell. The British Empire. It's from what it was, it has fallen because the British Empire was ruled most of the world. It ain't the same anymore because everyone's like, yeah, screw you, we now have our independence. And the American Empire will fall. It will fall. you know, it will fall. And because something will happen. Something will happen. I don't know whether this is it, but there will be something that will happen that will literally just cause America to completely rupture. But at the core of it is that racism thing. Is that racism thing. But specifically with the police, because people are fed up. People are fed up by how these guys police the whole thing, man. Just look at what you guys say, man. Things are gonna really pop off. So, but going back to the whole thing with the going back to the whole thing about the police and so forth. Because again, that's why you have to. One of the best films about just the poisonous nature of police culture is Seppico, which is an opportunist film. I mean, maybe bring it up for Cinema Club one time, because there is a specific family culture of police. I liken police to hardcore Liverpool fans. Not like general Liverpool fans, because there's some Liverpool fans who actually have brains, like your boy Josh here. But hardcore Liverpool fans, because hardcore Liverpool fans have a us versus them mentality where we keep everything in house and we're like a family. And for police people, we're a family. We watch each other's backs. You can never do any wrong. You are always justified. You are always right because it is us versus them. These people don't understand how difficult our job is to do. And when you have a family where we can rely on one another and we never snitch on one another and everything, it emboldens you to make crazy, rash decisions. But hey, my police guys will always have my back because they'll always understand. They'll always know that I did it in the best interest. And that is why so many of these policemen have gotten off. Because they've gotten off because the thinking of the system is the police are always right. They are always justified. That they are innocent until proven innocent. They're innocent until proven innocent. The guilty party are always those dogs that they're going after. And people, you don't understand how difficult our job is, and we have to make these tough decisions. So, and even they're already cooking up a story for this dude, this police dude. Because they're now saying that the coroner would now say, oh, he had an underlying heart disease, that he was already dying before the knee put in him. Because now once the coroner report now comes in and says, well, this wasn't caused by the policeman's knee, then they'll be like, well, we have to acquit. Pissing on you and saying it's rain. That's what it's about. It's pissing on you and saying it's rain. Without proper leadership, you can't win the race war. And this is something I've sort of talked about that I've always said, that could be a war that could potentially pop off and happen. Because it is so crazy that in 2020 we are still so racially divided, that we are still so we're still so racially at odds with one another. And a race war could easily happen, somewhat. But the thing about a race war is, if there was a race war, the white racists are outnumbered because there are far more independent whites, liberal whites, with blacks, Hispanics, and Asians than there are full-on racist whites who just want to go back to the good old Aryan Hitler Youth. So if there was a race war in America, I don't know how many of those numbers those white supremacists have, but as of right now, look, things may cool off. Things may cool off from where they have been right now. Things might cool off, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Oh, yes, I think, okay. Are they? No, 100% there are good policemen. 100% there are good policemen. But I think, because see, this is what I was discussing with Daniel. Is there are people who dream about being policemen from when they're young. Like that whole thing of playing cops and robbers and everything. That people dream about being policemen. And I'm sure there was even a point when I was young, we're like, oh, yeah, being a policeman is pretty cool. You get to wear a badge, you get to show your badge, you get to arrest someone, you get to take someone to jail, you get to keep other people, show you respect and everything. So being ideally, in an ideal sense, being a policeman is really cool. And it is a very noble job. Without policemen, we have anarchy. Like if someone steals something from you, you get into a fight with someone draws a gun, you're in a violent situation. The medics aren't going to help you. They're just there to heal you. The people who can diffuse a violent, aggressive situation are the police. So the police bring order to a society. So it is a very noble profession to have. So there are people who have noble causes, but what Daniel said, which was so interesting, which is true, is remember what we said? System. There is a system of being a policeman. You are indoctrinated being a policeman. So even if your intentions are good, what if the guidelines you're given aren't good? So yes, there are good policemen, but can they still maintain their good nature if they have been told by their bosses and people that this is how we want you to go about doing this? And if you're a policeman, it's almost similar to training day. It's similar to training day. If you're a policeman who you're about doing good and you see your partner who pretty much brutally beats up this dude that hardly does anything, who do you report to? Now, main thing, you report to internal affairs. If the police people find out that you reported to internal affairs, saying goes, if when a shootout, line of fire, are you going to have my back? Maybe that partner will think twice before protecting you in the line of fire. That's the sick thing. So that's your dilemma. I do good. If I see any policeman doing bad, I report them to internal affairs and so forth. They get investigated. But then if we're not in the line of fire, will this guy really have my back? But if I see him and I don't see no evil, hear no evil, and I don't do any of that stuff, I know that this guy is my brother and he will fully have my back. So that's the dilemma that people face. That's the dilemma that people face, man. So yeah. So basically, look, for me, I always say to people that why are you bothered about what Trump says? I get it, he's the president. I get it that he's the president, man. I get that he's the president, but can we truly um do we why do we care about what this guy says? Trump is an opportunist. He's an opportunist. He's trying to win an election because all Trump is about winning. He's he's trying to win an election and he's trying to consolidate his base that helped him win the first election. So what he says is irrelevant because he's trying to say, I've got to maintain that strong base that can give me the support to win this damn election. But basically, whatever, November is going to pop off. Based on what has happened and his comments and his things about saying that once the shooting starts, so once the looting starts, the shooting begins. November is going to go. They were trying to break into the White House. When last that happened? Well, obviously they were stopped, but they were literally at the gates of the White House in DC. They were trying to break into the White House while Trump was there, and Trump was boasting about how the Secret Service were like really cool, and they were ready to basically pump these guys up. But Trump is, people console him in saying and everything. I know what this guy. I know this guy, man. I know this dude. He's a game player. The dude's a game player, bro. The dude is a game player, G. He's a flipping game player. So Mo, let me ask you this. Do you truly believe the autopsy? And do you truly believe that the autopsy is independent and void of everything? Think about this. Policemen, you always want to protect them. They're seeing what has been happening. And they're seeing the uproar. If the autopsy reveals what it should really reveal, that yes, that's knee, whether it was a direct cause or it was a catalyst, then what you now have is you'll have, oh my gosh, this is uproar, and then people will want to blow because, and this is the crazy thing. This is the crazy thing. I don't believe that they are going to give this guy second-degree murder. Because those are the key things here. Because I was looking at it. First degree, second degree, third degree murder. So first degree murder is premeditated. It's a premeditated killing. You were going in there to fully kill that flipping dude. The second degree murder is, it's not premeditated, but your intention in the moment was to kill. The third degree murder is you want to cause harm, but the person now kills based off the harm that actually caused them. And what they're now saying is they're saying this is third degree murder. And I'm like, wait a minute. We know for a fact that he knows this dude. He knows him. He knows this dude. And they've known each other for 17 years. That's a fact. The second fact is he had his knee on him for 8 minutes. At the very least, it's a second degree offense. At the very least, it's a second degree offense. But pissing on you and saying it's rain. Because America wants to harm that the system. The American system wants to have that psychological power that, no, we run this. We see how this goes and we police you. And specifically for African Americans is you dance, you rap, you sing, you throw that ball in the hoop, and you run on that field, you entertain us like you did back in the plantation. Don't say anything. You entertain, because and that's why I'm looking very closely, because it's a cycle. Is they will rant, they'll go up and down. It is what it is. But afterwards, Kendrick will release his new album, Drake will release his new album, Will Smith will do a few dances on Instagram, and people will just say, oh, well, no, it is what it is. Because it's psychological control. What they want is for this to be normalized. They want African Americans to be desensitized to this. So they want this to be like normality, where we just want these people to be like, let them accept that this is what normal is. It's similar to the whole thing in football, how they say, oh, those racist chants is just part of football. It's part of football culture. So let's just try and normalize. Yeah, we'll just do a pat on the back. We'll do like a no racism things, but we don't really want to eradicate this really. We just want to just keep that in there. So Um, hey, your boy, Infinity, what up, baby? Man, I feel like we're in the Matrix. There are powers that be that control everything we don't know. Look, people say it's the Illuminati. People may say it's the Rothschild and everything. But there is a system. There is a system. And the branch of the police is a very vital part of that system. Do you know what the crazy thing is? Because I was having this discussion with my brother and everything. Because I said that the most important people, the most important aspects of a society are doctors or even teachers as well. My brother says no. He said the most important part of a society are soldiers. And maybe you'll then argue, is soldiers and then police. Because you need to, even before you have any, you need to have order. You need to have order. So, and how you have, and control for a government, for a system, the most important thing is control. Screw the teachers, screw the doctors, we must have control. We must control the masses. Because the funny thing is that you see that how can you, how can you exact change? Peaceful protest doesn't work. Okay, so please miss me without all that I have a dream stuff. Please don't. Violent protest gets people to notice, but rarely do we even see change through there. Do you know what truly changes things? And this is just where it's difficult. Everybody has to be on the same page. Everybody has to be on the same page. Everyone has to be on the same page. And if everyone is on the same page and on the masses move as one, they can conquer and do it, and they can do anything. Because if the masses really revolted as a whole, what the hell can the police or the army do? Because then if the police and the army start shooting everyone, then the system crumbles. The system can't operate without the masses. You see, the minority control the system, but the system only works through the masses. The system only works through the masses. And that's the thing, man. Let's see. So I don't want to read, but black people are relying their legacy on white people. How do you mean? Explain, expand. What do you mean by that? They're relying their on white people. Expand on that is if you can. Yes, soldiers. You must always have. If I was building a country on Earth, now if I was building a country in the utopia, oh my, I would want to have teachers. I want to have this. Even if you're building a country on Earth, my first thing I need soldiers, because conflict and war is always around the corner. And it's almost like, the nuclear deterrence. Because if I know that this country doesn't have an army, I'm going to invade you. That's if Africa had like an army with soldiers and guns, Europe will think twice before stealing these citizens. I'm taking them in as slaves. They only went there because they're like, oh no, these guys have no soldiers. They're living peacefully, doing their stuff. They don't have as advanced weapons as we're going to go there and screw all these dudes and steal them. So soldiers are key because there's always someone ready to want more. War is built into human nature. War is built into human nature. That's the thing. War is built into human nature. I think the world needs to accept that racism will never end. It's part of human nature. You can shout racism as much as you want. You can't change a man's view. No. Like look, I always are similar to the police. Racism doesn't end. It just evolves. It just evolves. There can never be an end to racism. Even if you go into the year 2050 or 2060, there will still be some form of racism that exists. You just have to accept that. And the dangerous thing in America is because America has such a violent racial history, slavery, Jim Crow laws, the civil rights movement, that if you now have racist policemen, that's it. That's a problem. Because someone said, "Oh no, like Martin Luther King, he accomplished what he wanted to accomplish, and he made the greatest speech ever." No, Martin Luther King made the greatest speech for white liberals, not for me. you know, Martin Luther King, that I have a dream and everything. No, that is a speech for white liberals, not for me. It's of no use to a lot of people. So, and what did he really accomplish? Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile, Eric Garner, and now George Floyd. And remember, these are only the things that we have seen recorded. So many of these things are happening. The amounts of places where some racist cop has like a flipping for one-on-one call or somewhere, and he just uses excessive force. Someone gets shot, killed, goes to court. They cook up a story. Policeman gets off. Boom. Because you have to, and this is why it goes back to the history. It goes back to the history. Like the policeman and the police force, they view black people as animals and as property, because you were property, because you guys were descendants of property. That's never changed. Why would we change our perception of you? Because see, the mistake that people make is, oh no, come on, slavery was just in the past. Slavery was hundreds of years ago. Things are different now. That's not how society works. Because society and how society goes through, it's interconnected. Slavery still exists, but it's different. Do you think Warren Buffett views Jay-Z as an equal? No. So Warren Buffett still views Jay-Z as a nigger. You're a nigger that obviously can rap and you made your way to get the money, but no, you're not my equal. You're still a nigger. So even if you're rich and everything, whether it's a little and everything, you're still psychologically a slave. Look at Kanye West. Kanye West is obsessed with acquiescing himself to the realms of whiteness. He's obsessed with Louis Vuitton, this kind of stuff, because he's still psychologically a slave. So he can be a trillionaire and everything, but mentally he's still a slave. So this is it. So from a boy, the real deal. MLK fought in front of the bus. No, MLK fought to sit in front of the bus, not own it. That's interesting. See, that's interesting. Because that's a deep thing. He fought to sit in front of the bus. Because I'm reading a book right now, great book, by Kehinde Andrews, which is called Black Radicalism. And this is so similar, because what Kehinde Andrews was saying is Martin Luther King fought for supremacy, fought for respect within the system. He fought for respect within the Caucasian system. But Malcolm X wanted to break that system. And Malcolm X wanted affluence, independence from that system. Martin Luther King was, no, we have to fight for equality and respect within this system, which is a fight that, for me, frankly, doesn't make any sense, because, as I say, what's it called? A ceiling, the glass ceiling. Okay, yeah, we can give you all this kind of stuff, but bro, you're not going to have the same rights as we do, because we built this system. This is our system. We built this. So we will be damned if we're going to get descendants of property and slaves to be equal to us. Are you crazy? No. Those Malcolm X said, they'll never see us as equal. You've now got to just create something radically different, And that's the whole thing of like supporting black businesses and so forth and everything. From Mohammed Ramadan, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Super Chatman. The police system and justice system in America sucks and needs to be reconstructed. Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket was, oh, Full Metal Jacket was fair despite being hard. Um, yeah, that was a pretty crazy character. It will never be reconstructed. It never will be, because this goes back to the system, and there are vested interests, and there are people, very powerful people, extremely powerful people. Um, there's extremely powerful people that benefits from this system. And because there are extremely powerful people that benefit from this system, um, that system will never be reconstructed. It will never be revolutionized. So it's just an endless cycle. It's what the saying goes: the more things change, the more they stay the same. History repeats itself. Which is why I just say one of the best books. I keep on recommending this book to you guys. One of the best books for you guys to read is The Prince by Machiavelli, because it is the very essence of history repeats itself. Yeah, we have technology, we have different clothes, different fashion, and so forth. But there are certain norms within human society that have been prevalent for hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of years. And these kinds of norms can never change. These core principles can never change. Like, how stupid is it for the whole rights to bear? Who the hell made that dumb law? It is so stupid, the right to bear arms. Because because see, and this is what someone said, that's worked hundreds of years ago when people were less civilized and were flipping morons during slavery times, when guys were flipping cowboys. But in today's world, how the heck does that happen? Well, why should we have the right to bear arms when we've now sort of evolved based on the kind of cowboy flipping wild ass thing that was prevalent back then? So which is what I said, like, America doesn't actually have any real culture. It has no culture. It has no real history. You see, England has a history. Spain has a history. Portugal has a history. Nigeria, Ethiopia. These guys actually have a history and a culture. America's history and culture is slavery. It's slavery. It's massacring Native Americans. It's built on crap. It's built on crap. So, hey, what did you talk about? The Arabs? Yeah, look, yes, there were black people that owned slaves, Arabs that owned slaves, and everything. But the most successful commerce, the most successful system was the slave trade perpetuated by the Europeans and the Americans. America was built, the country, the system was built on slaves. So, yes, everyone had slaves, blacks, Arabs, like, everyone had slaves. But the biggest slave trade, the one that was done en masse, and the one that's pretty much built a flipping country, and it's built an empire, was America. The American empire was built on slaves, but so. No, you see, this is what I say. No, the right to bear arms, basically, it's already, I said again, you can never take away people's guns. And the reason for that is not everybody is going to be willing to disarm. I'm saying that the mistake was made by the moron who wrote that rule in. That was the mistake. The mistake was the dumb idiot. I don't know which president was that thick-headed idiot that decided to say, hey, rights to bear arms. Because you've now set a rule that can't be unmade. Because if I'm going to say, oh, let's now disarm, how do I know that my neighbor is going to disarm? How do I know that that guy that has beef with him is going to disarm? That he may show you all the guns that he has, but maybe he has a gun in his basement. Are you going to go to everyone's single home and again you can illegally get so? Nah, it can never work. It can never ever work, man. You see, Obama is another different conversation. Obama is another different conversation because Obama is a conversation linked into how effective are presidents really, and are presidents really just puppets? Because do presidents really do they really exact any change? That's what I say. Do they really exact any real change? That's what I want to know. Do they really exact any real change? Um, so Arabs is the slave trade is the biggest and the longest. Okay, please give me proof that the Arab slave trade was as brutal or as effective or as animalistic or as barbaric as the slave trade that was, or as slavery and slave trade that was in America, you know. And then we can see, oh, thank you. Him as a, I'm American guy who wants. So Hitman. So you say that you're American. What makes you believe in the flag, believe in the country, sing the anthem, if the country views you and treats you essentially like crap? Now, you can't think of yourself just as an individual where, well, I'm okay. I'm talking about your people, your race, and so forth. How can you say, yeah, man, I'm American, when you know the history of the country, how it was built, and how they essentially view you as a whole, not as an individual, but as a whole? How can you still say, I'm American? That's just um that's that's just me putting in the thing out. What, how then? Obama, man. Now, see, granted, Obama was more presidential and a better leader than Trump. More just being presidential and so forth. But what did Obama really do, and what did he really achieve? Or was it just, hey man, we America, we can't be racist. We just elected a black dude, half black. But just saying, when we elected a black dude, we can't possibly be racist. We just elected a black dude. Come on. Presidents are figureheads. They're figureheads. They don't make any real change. Like, as people said, the president's not the person you need to vote for are those mayors or governors of your district, those lawmakers of your state. Because remember, America is run by a state by state basis. So it is those lawmakers of a state that you should really be voting for an American president. The guy doesn't really do much, man. The guy doesn't really do much, man. Why leave and not acknowledge the place of my birth if you are making progress? What progress is truly getting made? What progress is truly getting made? You know, and this is a difficult thing because see, I definitely want to have a real, and not now because I think it's a very important discussion. I want to have another stream about African Americans and no, sorry, Africans and African Americans and the whole issue of African Americans and Africans, because that is a very deep convo I want to have. But my thing though is, I said again, America, for a black guy in America, like, is that really your country? Or do they just use you when they need you? Do they, as a black guy, are you truly respected? Or they only need you to rap, sing, dance, run, throw the ball in a hoop, and entertain, and crack jokes, basically be entertainers. Oh, wow. Oh, jeez. Oh, man, look. But beyond the entertainment, are you respected and treated the same as your white counterparts? That's a question you have to ask yourself. That's a question you have to ask yourself, man. Um, so we are 13% of the US population. To make change, you need power. Yeah, no, for me, see, that's the thing is that look, change is a big thing because again, it's like, how do you um, how do you sort of completely and totally revolutionize? How do you completely and totally revolutionize um, the way in which a country is structured if you don't really have the power? And if you don't really have that power, it's going to be very difficult. If you don't really have the power, it's going to be very, very difficult, man. It's going to be very difficult, man. But yeah, you definitely need power. You definitely need power. See, now we're getting to a very interesting conversation. I'm a Black American. I joined the army because I love this country. And see, that's my thing is like, this is such a this is such a interesting conversation because it's like, who am I to say that you guys aren't American because you believe in that country? Who am I to say that? See, we just want to say, oh my, it's like, I don't have to have the convo because it's such a great convo. Because I'm coming from the mindset of a Nigerian. I'm coming from the mindset of a Nigerian and a person who's lived in Nigeria. So I grew up in a country where everyone was Black. Everyone was Black. There was no such thing as, oh, well, white people are there and everything. So racism didn't exist. Now it's about rich or poor or what tribe you're from and everything. So I've just always found it difficult of, if you're Black in a country where there is racism and really you're never really seen as other operations of society, can you really call that your country? And that's just interesting. So, but I think, but from guys like Hitman and Mo, you're like, well, if I'm born here, it's all I've known. It is what it is. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. So, but it is interesting how some people were like, it is what it is. I can be American, but like, no, I want to fight against that, man. So it's and for me, I think because the thing with America is this: is that, look, not every country is perfect. Not every country is perfect, and I've always said that even despite America's history, and the history that America has had, and so forth, it is still America is still the probably the best, taking everything into account, is probably still the best country in the world in terms of opportunity. Yes, there's a lot of crap you have to deal with, guns and everything, but the American dream is real. You can go from being debt poor to being fully rich, like basically the Jay-Z story. I don't think the Jay-Z story happens in any other country. It doesn't, because all America cares about is, can you make me money? It's not about your status. Even if there's racism, the color green supersedes whether you're Black, because America doesn't care whether you're Black, white thing. They care about green. That's the race that they care about the most. That's the color they care about the most. Green. Green defeats any other color. So, but it's just it's interesting. That's why it's just interesting. That's why it's very an interesting conversation I want to have with Black Americans and just how they view themselves in the society of that country. No, I don't feel English at all. I have the passport. I was born in London, but whenever people ask me, like, I say I'm Nigerian. I don't really. There's no aspect of me that mixes with English culture, and I've always said that I probably get on better with Americans and people of an American culture than I do people of the English culture. And it's just, I mean, it is what it is. It's just like, I mean, England is cool. It's cool because it can be very chill and so on, and there are very good aspects of England. But just personally, for me, I just never have really felt English. English has never really been something I'm really pleased. Is America on the brink of an American Civil War? And if so, is China prepared to take advantage of that? See, the way it's looking now, COVID has sort of thrown things up in the air. COVID has thrown things up in. But when you're just looking at just what is happening in America right now, you're looking at this battle between the police and the people. It does feel now, this may take 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, or so forth. But it does seem as if America is on its way down and China is going to be the new superpower. That is what it's going to look like. I don't know how long that will be, because there's a reason why China are investing so much in Africa, because China are planning for the future 10 to 15 years in advance to pretty much be the number one kind of empire in the world. But that is interesting. An American Civil War. What would an American Civil War look like? Would it be a race war? Would it be between the rich and the poor? Or would it be the masses versus the police? Because right now there is, I wouldn't call this a war, but there's sort of skirmishes and battles amongst all of these states right now between the police and the people. And with all of these things, you would say there's always somewhat of an end. And especially, what's it called? The Minnesota governor just said they're not going to bring in the National Guard. So once the army now comes with their tanks, then there's like, okay, guys, I think we better just do a moonwalk back into our houses. So I don't think this is going to, I may be wrong, but I don't think this is going to escalate. I don't think it's going to escalate, and hopefully not, because I have an uncle and family and cousins in Atlanta. So I was like, yo, guys, just chill, because things are also popping off in Atlanta as well. But it does seem as if there is something may happen in America. Something may happen in America. Be very clear here. Be very clear here. I've talked about that in America. Give me the West over China all day, any day. All day, any day. Because you can say all you want about America. I do not want to be ruled by China. No way. Heck flipping no. Please give me Hollywood. Give me comic books. Give me democracy. Give me my rights. Give me my rights to protest. Because in China, there's no protesting. There's no real laws. There's no independence. There's no self-agency. A world ruled by China is hell. That would be horrible. It would be flipping horrible. Well, from what I've heard, what's it called? Hong Kong is about to get pimp slapped. Because there's some new laws that China have not exacted on Hong Kong. So Hong Kong are about to get bitch slapped. They're about to get bitch slapped. So Hong Kong is gone, man. If you're black and love America, take the red pill ASAP. Now, how many black people have taken that? How many black people have taken the blue pill? Because the key thing here is awareness. The key thing here is being aware. Because if you're not aware to the truth and you're lost, it's not a good place to be. So even if you love America and you're for America and everything, are you still aware of what America is? That's the key thing. Are you still aware of what America is? Because if you're not, what will it take for an African country to become a superpower? First thing is people working together. People working together. If people don't work together, then what the hell can you do? So the key thing is people working together and you doing things for the benefits of the country, because Africa have resources. Nigeria is sitting on oil. Nigeria is sitting on oil. Which is why I always say that you have to still give white people credit. You have to be smart to make someone believe that you have all this stuff in your land, but we're going to create a deal where we screw you over this. We benefit off the resources you have. We leave your country in crap, but you still don't hate on us Because what we've done is we've made the powerful people friends with us, and the powerful people are keeping you guys under control. It's smart. It's evil. It's effed up, but it's smart. So you got to give those empire people their credit. That those guys are some cunning, smart dudes, man. Space rockets. What do you mean by this? Since mentioned to the space rockets to moon? Wait, to the moon? Or what was that? Because I want to go to space, man. Personally, I personally want to go to space, but I want to have my own spaceship. It could be all three: masses versus police, blacks versus whites, male versus female. We've got so many marginalized individual groups more than we did during our first civil war. If you think about it, look, for me, it's crazy that in 2020 the world seems very fractured. Look at Europe and all the rise of the right-wing parties. You look at what is happening, obviously in the Middle East. Look at what's happening in Syria, in Iran, Israel, and thingy. That's the same thing. But look at what's happening. Like America, the last time America was this divided racially, and there was this much racial tension, was probably back in the 60s. It was probably back in the 60s that there was this much racial tension. But the funny thing is this, though, is that maybe this always existed. But remember, cameras. Without the smartphone, we don't have any of this. We don't have any of this. Without that guy filming that Rodney King beating, we don't have the riots. So these things have always happened. So it's crazy, man. So wait, so this SpaceX, what is this? It's going where and going to who? Okay, let's listen SpaceX, because I can't put this on here, because if I put this on here, then oh my gosh. So where is this thing going to, and how come I can't be part of it? That's what I want to know. Where is this thing going, and how come I can't be part of this whole live SpaceX thing? All right, look, man, I ain't doing rather. China already own us. They own our politicians. They own our trade. See, China are infiltrating. They are infiltrating, and you see what China is doing is criminal. There is a war right now between America and China. It's kind of maybe say there's a cold war. There's a cold war right now between America and China, but China's now sitting back saying, "Oh my gosh, look at these guys. Look at what these guys are doing." Because China are just watching closely as America is tearing itself apart. See, now I think that take it, but as of right now, America is at war with itself. There is no doubt. As of right now. Now, that may change in the next few days, but as of right now, America, not Minnesota, America is at war with itself. Some of the images that I've seen, this stuff looks like Mad Max. It looks like Escape from New York. I'm seeing Bond's cars. I'm seeing graffiti and stuff everywhere. It looks crazy. So China's like, oh my God, man. And China is hoping that Trump is still in power. Because Trump is just poking the fire. He's poking the fire. He's poking the fire. So not just race. Oh no, look. But I think race is the biggest thing. 100%. The rich and poor is huge. And again, I think, as Valvena said, male and female, there are many, many different divisions that happen in America. But I think the biggest one and the most crucial one is the racial one, based on the history, and I think, I really believe that the police are there to maintain that racial order. They're there to maintain that racial order. Because remember, look, of course there are black policemen, there are Indian policemen, there are Chinese policemen, but there are far more white policemen than there are of any other race, because there are far more whites in America than of any other race. And if you go to certain states, it is many predominantly whites. Like that film, Black Klansman. by Spike Lee with John David Washington, um, was based on a true story. And the I think Ron Stallworth, the guy that he played, he was the first African American or even first non-white policeman in the state of Colorado. You know, so when police force, your domestic army is predominantly white, you can enforce that whole thing of we have to keep these blacks in line. Now, let me ask you guys this. Maybe I'm wrong, but I want to see what you guys say. Are you saying to me that the police force don't tell their policemen to go harder in certain neighborhoods and towards certain people? Let's do. Will they do it? So, so do you think that it's unfair, or do you believe that the police tell the police force that in these areas, in these neighborhoods with these certain people, you need to be much more forceful? You cannot treat, and they may not say it explicitly, but it will be implied, and you will know that the way you treat these blacks is not the same as you treat these whites. Is any policeman really going to drag and throw over a 14-year-old white girl? I don't think they would. I don't think they would. Because if a policeman was caught doing that, he's finished. But if you do that to a black woman, it just doesn't cut the same, you know? It just doesn't cut the same, man. No. I think what you guys are talking about. No, America has spent trillions on the army. Like, China doesn't have a bigger army than America in terms of. So forget about numbers. In terms of weaponry and the kinds of things that they can call upon, in terms of weaponry and so forth and artillery, like, America's army is stupid. Which was like, I don't know how a war could work, really. Which is why, like, that Iraq war could have just been finished because America could have just dropped a nuke on Iraq. You know, America could have just easily dropped a nuke in Iraq. Rich and poor is a huge part of the racial issues. Oh, for sure. You know, and again, that's why, you know, that was the beauty of Boys in the Hood and the kind of story that John Singleton was trying to tell in Boys in the Hood, which is how these neighborhoods are built, what they put into these neighborhoods, and how they maintain that racial and societal divide, you know, of the white communities and the black communities, and how they psychologically keep you in your place, you know. Because that's what I just said, like, you know, again, another big thing, because there's so much stuff we need to talk about. A huge thing is the slave mentality. It's real. The slave mentality is real, because I truly believe that you do carry on certain traits of your ancestors. You do. They are inbuilt in you, whether you like it or not, you know. And that can't be shaken. So the rich and poorness, the riches and the poverty, it is fairly in line with the colors and with race, you know. Like, you have been brainwashed to be like, black is poor, black is dirty, black is unkempt, white is rich, white is affluent, white is angelic. That is just something imprinted upon you. So now we want to take it back to the police on a subliminal level. Because it is pumped into you through media and so forth, through school. You know, on a subliminal level, black is a threat. Black is always a threat. So I have to be more excessive towards this imagery of black. But white, this is something that is equal. Black, this is an animal. This is something that is beneath me. This creature is beneath me, so I've got to treat this like an animal. But with this white guy or this white girl, I have to treat them as a human. So a white person who's shut up his school and gone crazy, you've got to approach them carefully, be easy, and so forth. Like those white guys who walked into Capitol Hill with their guns because they were angry of lockdown rules. Police were like, not a single punch was thrown. Just think about that. Just think about that. Bunch of white guys armed with guns, coming with weapons and guns. And the police didn't do anything. Again, I ask, maybe I'm going crazy. If a group of black people did the same thing armed with guns, how the hell does that go down? How the hell does that go down? Um, oh God. um, so NNB, so it sounds like you're projecting onto white people your own insecurities. How so? How so? Like I don't understand. How so? Um, I don't understand. Like how so? Like what do you mean by my insecurity? Please expand upon that. I just gave a very simple analogy that which is that the way the police treats whites is different from how the police treats blacks based on the racial history and the racial dynamics of America, which are facts. That's just why there's a history of police brutality towards a certain group. So I don't really know what you're saying there. English blacks want tea and biscuits. We want no. Look, I think, but remember, but see, really, you have to understand. Like, it's England have a different history from America. It's a very different history. Now there is still racism in England. There's still racism within police in England, and there are still similar issues of inequality within the societal pyramid and so forth in England. But it is just not the same as America because you see, the difference in England is the blacks in England, their history can go back to Jamaica, the West Indies, or West Africa. But for the blacks in America, your history is America. And your history is slavery. And then the psychological damage that if your lineage are slaves. So that very core thing is key, man. Oh man, this NNB sports man. We'll launch in 1 minute. I know that no. I will look at the launch afterwards. I will look at the launch afterwards, man. Um, what do you think of Candace Owens and Terrence Williams? Look, they can just do whatever they want to do, Because for me, see, my key thing is that what always bugs me is if a black person has like a different political view, they're seen as a sellout. I think that is stupid. I think that is stupid. I think it is wrong to view people as a seller because they have a different political view. But I was just thinking, I don't know who Terrence Williams is, but in the case of Candace Owens, I think that is borderline cooning. That is borderline cooning, because it's as if you are always fully going out of your way to try and look at the most fully alternative thing. And what I always say about people like a Candace Owens is you have to look at the reality of life. Whites won't be there to protect you if you're falling. They won't be there because you're not one of their own. So if you're not really one with your people, now you can still be sort of having people, but if you're so fully against your own people, when the ish hits the fan, you're going to be in a really really bad place. So it's always a really poor place where a Candace Owens is in, man. So but yeah, um so basically, my things is no. I'm on both platforms, man. I'm on both platforms doing my thing, man. Guys, tell me how. No, I'm gonna watch the launch afterwards. I'll watch the launch afterwards because I don't want to be sort of dispersed by the launch. I mean, I'm sure it'll be on a video and so forth. But I think, but look, going back to America and so forth, it's going to be interesting to see how what comes of this. That's what I want to know. Is like, it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this because the key thing now is he going to be is the cop going to be convicted, and if he's convicted, what conviction does he what will be his punishment? um and that's the key thing, because if you don't understand what the guy's punishment is, then it's going to be crazy, man. Um so black Bill Gates asked Biden what's black agenda, but Obama. But maybe because just assume, and now that was the assumption. Maybe that was the mistake that people made. They thought, okay, because Obama is coming into this right now, he will ultimately have a black agenda. Well, 8 years after, they were like, well, Obama, what did you really do for America, really? I mean, how much change did you really have? But because of Biden, they're like, okay, Biden, what do you now go? What can he now do for blacks? But the key thing with Biden is November is going to be very interesting. Like November is going to be very, very interesting based on what will happen, because I think even more crazier stuff is going to happen by the time we get to November. Like you thought Trump and Hillary was a tier one match. We may be seeing Hillary and Trump was a CL final. We could get, based on just the stuff that has happened, we could get a World Cup final match between Trump and Biden. Because for me, I've always thought that if Trump is going to win, because Biden can't even remember his lines. But the way things are going, we may have a pretty crazy presidential debate, man. Yo, NNB Sportsman, relax. I know that you're triggered and you're so forth. Just sit down, have some tea, put on some folk music and chill and relax. Put on some Britney Spears and relax. Just chill. Damn. So 20 look, I choose this. 2020 has been, guys, this has been crazy. This started with Kobe. This started with Kobe. Then we have this COVID-19. Now this, and guys, I don't know whether you read the story. Some monkeys in India stole some COVID-19 samples and broke out of this lab. That happened. Some monkeys broke into a lab and stole some COVID-19 samples. And people are saying, you know what? That's at the beginning of Planet of the Apes. I am now slightly worried about, because this is the launch of the new decade. This is the launch of the new decade, because the funny thing is that I'm looking at all of this process. I'm like, why are you wearing a mask when you're literally kissing and being right next to a dude? Zero social distancing, but you're still wearing a mask. So you're wearing a mask and gloves, but you're literally marrying and marinating with them. So the world is flipping upside down. The world has completely, totally turned upside down, man. So because some do say, oh no, 2020 has actually been pretty good, man. No, I think says I don't think it's going to be Trump and Biden. I think a dark horse candidate will emerge out of desperate times, like Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban. Because basically, I think what is the case right now, it's an either or. I think based on how the whole American political system is, it's either Biden or Trump. So basically, that's the showdown. I'll be doing hopefully the pre-match analysis of the debates. That's the showdown. And these guys are already attacking each other already. They're already attacking each other already. So, but my thing is that what is in store for us this year? What the F is in store for us this year? Because, like, is this the beginning of the end? Like, We see when I see the time I know that this year has peaked is if we now start having talking animals. If I start hearing that animals are now talking, the emoting are now hearing that a dog is now saying woof woof woof, screw you, woof woof woof. Then I'm like, okay, you know what, guys? Maybe we need to try and get that colony on Mars popping off. Maybe just to get that traveling and popping off. But I shudder to think, what else is there? What else is going to happen? Oh no, I mean, look, this year you've got to induct this year. You have to. You have to. The only way that this year doesn't get inducted is if the championship comes back fully. I get filthy rich, and an alien race comes to help improve society, and there's an end to racism. So if these four things happen before this year is out, then I want to induct this year. So if we don't get those four things, I mean, you have to like this year. We're not even in June. Wait, we're not even halfway through the year. We're not even yet in June, and America looks like a complete war zone. You know, America looks like a complete and utter war zone, man. Look, mega relax, man. Black people are relying on white people to solve their problems, which will never happen. Taking the victim part is wrong. The mentality will never change. You see, no, you see, that's the thing is, someone made this point. It's a point that someone made, and this I can't remember, I forgot who it was. Forgot who it was because it was someone on the Breakfast Club. I think it was someone on the Breakfast Club. They said that segregation was actually helpful for Black people. Because on the face value, segregation was like, oh my gosh, this is racism. Oh my gosh, look at how bad this is. But what segregation did was it forced Black people to support other Black people. And Black businesses was not able to thrive because the Black dollar was kept in-house. Like that. Remember, that's our whole thing about the Black Wall Street and everything. But the Black dollar was kept in-house. So as a community, it was able to thrive. Why do Jews do so well? Everything is insulated. Why do the Chinese do so well? Everything is insulated. But now, once they have the desegregation and they have the kind of weird relationship that whites have with blacks, a lot of Black people are like, nah, I'm going out on my own. I'm being an individual. Nah, I've left here. Now let me now do my thing. And because of slave mentality, which is key, the disease, Black people in America have the disease of slave mentality. They always want to please the white man, and they feel that I have only achieved success if I have been seen as a success in the eyes of the white man. So Black people will always look towards, man, I'm the white, but you have to change, you have to change, you have to change. And my thing about change is that, first of all, as a community, support each other as a community. You know, do that first. Is that whole crop of Oscars so white? Who cares? So you're doing the whole Oscar so white. Do you support the Image Awards? Do you support the Vibe Awards? Do you support Black-owned talents and so forth? So come on, man. You know. So it's a wild thing, man. It's a wild thing. Dr. Umama, look, bro, guys, I don't even know what the hell is gonna happen this year, man. I don't even. Oh my gosh, Bontara, you're up in the building, man. What up, man? What up? What up? I don't even know what's going to be happening this year, man. But look, man. Yeah, look. Well, there's the PS5. I think is that June 14th or June 1st. What I think is it June 14th that they have the display. See, now that's going to be key. See, that's what I'm looking forward to. What I'm looking forward to for the PS5 is, let me see moving images. Let me see those graphics. Let me see those moving images, man. So, and also, what the hell is Xbox doing? what the hell is freaking Xbox doing? Because and the thing with these consoles is, look, guys have to chill. So it's now £700 to own one of these consoles. And if I'm spending £700 on these consoles, how good will the games truly be? Are they truly going to be next generation? So anything in sports in America, I wouldn't be shocked if LeBron ran for. The fact that Trump is president, a guy who was on a TV show, the fact that he became president just shows that America is wild, man. America is completely an like America is just so that's what I say. Like, come this November, who knows whether we'll even have an election? Who knows? Who knows? And maybe Vena's right, guys. Maybe Krusty the Clown is going to go up and actually try and come up and vote, man. But look, man, guys. Hopefully, if you guys are in America, I mean, how many of you guys are like in New York or Minnesota or any of these places, man? Because if you guys are in any of these states, man, stay safe. Stay safe out there, man, because things could very easily escalate, man. Things could very easily escalate and just get completely and totally out of hand, man. So it's I know. Reagan was before him, but at least Reagan had a brain. But stay safe out there. And I just say, for the police guys out there, man, because I want to just know how much this will escalate. And I think that whether this escalates comes down to what the conviction is going to be given towards the policeman. Because we are definitely living in a different world. Because you see, the last time there were, let me think about it. Has there ever been protests on this scale in America, state to state? I'm not sure whether there has been, because obviously there has been massive. There was obviously the protests in Ferguson. There were the LA riots and all that kind of stuff. But have there ever been protests on this scale in America, state to state? I mean, I'm seeing New York, I'm seeing Atlanta, I'm seeing Louisville, I'm seeing Minnesota, I'm seeing LA. Like a guy hot wired like a forklift truck and was driving through. I'm seeing people Chicago that they tried to break the thing in Chicago. Like that's one of. I mean, like when was the last time that there was these mass riots on this scale to this intensity across whole of America? That's what I want to know. Because so people that said that before, tell me when last it was before. See, I definitely want to bring this in. To people that's out there, because I think I want to try and because I want this to be more conversational. Because we have the whole live chat, but because maybe especially for the religion topic, I think for the religion topic, I definitely want to make that a conversation to be had for people. Because I remember Hazem definitely wanted to come in on the whole religion thing. Because even for me, who is spiritual but non-religious, it would be good to have views of people who are like, basically, I want like a hangout of people who are atheists and people who are religious, and then people who are non-religious. You see, 1968. Now, in 1968, were there riots of this scale, where, and I'm talking not just states, several states. And was there a case where there are people who were trying to storm the White House because they were trying to break into the White House to beat up the president? That's what I want to know. That's definitely what I want to know. And I think we'll definitely have. I think I want to have another video game discussion, and I think maybe a video game discussion I want to have is just consoles, mainly consoles. I want to have like a nice, deep, intensive like video game console discussions over that. I think that'd be cool. All right, let me just say something on the other here, man. Police brutality and racism is shown in The Wire. Oh yeah, look, I've already said that The Wire is the greatest TV show of all time. It is the greatest TV show of all time. The Wire is absolutely incredible. So, and but you see, in terms of police brutality, the best film, and you guys, I don't know whether you guys are watching, the best film that just signifies the problem of police culture is Seppuku. Seppuku is it's because also Seppuku is based on a true story, and when you watch Seppuku, then you realize the real problem and issues of American police. You can say police in general, but specifically American police, and how hard it is to get policemen to face justice. And I think, as someone even said online, is that, yeah, I know that you're a policeman, I know you wear a badge. So because you wear a badge, does that mean you're above the law? So because you wear a badge, does that mean that you committing murder is not the same as a civilian committing murder? Now, there's such a thing as in the line of fire. But if you're not in the line of fire, are the rules different for you because you're a policeman? That's crazy. So for me, that's just because that doesn't make any sense, because it now goes back to my original point of, like, okay, if the rules are now different, a racist can become a policeman and just go around murdering black people and not get convicted. You can find a way to get away with killing black people where it will be ruled a justified kill, and you'd be like, man, boom, I'm getting off on what I couldn't do as a civilian. Because, guys, racists can become policemen, and there are racist people who are wearing badges. You just don't know that they're racist or not because they're wearing a police uniform. Of course I have. Great film, superb film. Is it one of Spike Lee's best films? And yeah, it definitely is fully relatable to what is happening right now. I mean, Do the Right Thing is very similar to Boys in the Hood, very timely. And those are what you call great films. Those are films where they speak about the times that they're in, but they can also be referenced decades afterwards. And that's the scary thing, that you can watch a Do the Right Thing and you're like, oh wow, man, like, this is so you can definitely see the parallels with what is happening today, man. All right, guys, it's been swell. I hope that, but I think this was a good convo. I think this was definitely a good convo where we really talked about some home truths here. But remember, just stay safe out there. And if the world is coming to an end, man, ...2020 has been pretty damn wild. Become a Half Hope Sort member and gain access to exclusive videos and also the chance to watch films, anime, or different videos with your boy HH exclusively. Just click below on the join button to join in and become a Half Hope Sort member to gain access to these perks. Just click on the community icon over here to view the new members only posts just for you.